Today, I'm going to talk about covering the trade deadline. A lot of people are always curious about this, what it's like. So I'll try to explain as best I can. This trade deadline was somewhat unusual. We saw 50 trades, 50 trades in the last 31 hours. Now, that's a lot, especially since many executives were predicting about a month out that this deadline was going to be a dud. 50 trades in 31 hours. Now, what I often tell people about the deadline is that when you're covering it, when I'm covering it anyway, I feel like I'm drowning. There is so much happening, so much I'm looking into, so much I'm writing. I'm not just reporting transactions on X. I'm writing stories, often in collaboration with other writers at The Athletic. They're not always long stories, but we're trying to give insight into what is happening, into discussions. We wrote about the Mason Miller trade a couple of days before it happened. We said the Padres were interested. We wrote about the Astros pursuing Dylan Cease. All of these different things are going on. So I'm texting constantly, not just with sources, but with writers on our staff, trying to figure out what the heck is going on, how to proceed, what to do, what to report. And I'll also make or take an occasional phone call. It's not often, but once or twice, 3 times, 4 times in those last 2 days or so, I'll be on the phone because I need some specific information or something that maybe can't be related on text. I don't have many actual conversations in those 2 days before the deadline, or before the deadline. I don't even really talk to my wife. So basically, I don't leave the house. And at one point on deadline day, and this is a funny story, I got up to get something to eat. It was many hours into it. I hadn't eaten. I get up to get something to eat, bring my laptop into the kitchen, put it down on the table, walk over to the refrigerator. I walk back to the laptop, and in that time, Brian McTaggart of MLB.com, he covers the Astros, reported this. The Astros have agreed to a deal to reacquire Carlos Correa in a trade with the Twins. So basically, walked away. It could not have been even 30 seconds. And look what happened. That's how frantic that last day was. And it was totally crazy. Now, people often ask me if I sleep in those final days before the deadline. And the answer should be yes, because the deals don't happen round the clock. There is, I don't know, a 5 or 6 hour period, generally speaking, most nights. Sometimes they do happen around the clock, but it's pretty rare. There's usually a 5 or 6, 7 hour period where it's quiet, or at least I don't have to be pursuing anything. The problem for me is I've got so much adrenaline flowing. I'm thinking about so much. My head is kind of exploding that it's really hard to sleep. So the reason I'm not sleeping is more so the excitement and the anxiety, I guess you'd call it, than actual things happening and actually not having time to sleep. There's time. I just have a really tough time shutting my mind down. Now, this is my 25th year as a national baseball writer. Every year when it's over, I think to myself, man, I can't cover another deadline. I can't go through this again. It's not physically hard in the sense that I'm doing anything. I'm basically just sitting at a desk or standing at a desk. I have a standing desk. But it's hard in the sense that you're locked in for so long and it's mentally draining. So I always say that. And of course, I keep coming back for more. Now, I can't say the process is fun, not when it's so intense and difficult and exhausting. But the action, well, fans, media, executives, managers, coaches, players, that's what we all live for, right? We all love the deadline and all the crazy things that can happen. And I tell you guys every year, I must sound like a broken record, there will be things that happen that make your head spin, that you didn't anticipate, that you didn't know was coming. This year, what happened that fell along those lines? The Rafael Devers trade for sure, the Carlos Correa trade for sure, Mason Miller, and the Twins deconstruction. So all that stuff, that's why we keep so much interest in the deadline. It's why we have so much fun with it. Now, I do love looking back and writing about what happened. And that can be in the immediate aftermath, in the weeks and months ahead, even years down the line. And after this particular deadline passed, Dan Hayes, the Twins writer from The Athletic, we combined on this story inside the final hours of the Carlos Correa era and the start of a rebuild for the Twins. We had some information that we thought we wanted to get out there immediately. There was a very interesting narrative around the Twins. So Dan and I wrote that story. We combined on it. We got great editing from Mark Carrig and Chris Strauss, two of our editors, because frankly, we were fried and it wasn't as coherent as it should have been. So they helped us put it together and did a great job. And that night, I ended up, I don't know, going to bed at something like 3 a.m. Eastern with a 6 a.m. or so wake-up call to go to Bristol, Tennessee for the Speedway Classic the next day. So even the night after the deadline, I didn't really sleep. But at the same time, this is what we live for, right? And after this show, and after I write one more thing today, yes, I'm going to finally take some downtime, take some time off, and I'll be back with you, I don't know, maybe a week or so. I don't know, maybe I won't come back. Maybe I'll just be too tired. Nah, doubtful. Love the deadline. Love reporting on it, writing about it. It just takes a little bit out of you.